The Duval Rundown, driven by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, home of the lifetime warranty.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Duval Rundown. I'm Hayes Carline. Please be joined with Ryan O'Halloran, sports columnist of the Florida Times-Union. Ryan, good morning. How are you today?
Good, Hayes. It took until December 3rd before I had to pull out the sweater. What are we reading?
Yeah, that's good. That's not bad. We got that little bit of cold. I don't know, what was it now, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where it got like really cold for like 4 or 5 days. But yeah, it's been nice, and now we'll see. Hopefully we continue to have good weather. But you're right. There's a little crispness in the air today. Before we get started, want to let you guys know a very important day at the radio station today. The Tom Coughlin J Fund is today, the Radiothon. It's our 18th annual Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon. Again, this charity helps families that are dealing with childhood cancer, helps them pay their mortgages, helps them pay their grocery bill, things that give families support when they're going through such a difficult life circumstances is getting the diagnosis that their child has cancer. So please give if you can. You can text GOAL to 44834 and please help us out. You guys always do a great job with that, and we're certainly very appreciative of it. Obviously, we'll be talking throughout the day on 1010XL 92.5 FM about the Tom Coughlin J Fund. So please give if you can. We would certainly appreciate it, and I know the families would as well. Ryan, as we start to dive into this matchup, you've covered a lot of these. Covering the Bills, obviously Buffalo's been in the mix for the championship now for a while. And obviously in your previous stops, you've been around this. We'll get to stopping Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, that's the big storyline for this game Sunday. But one of the things that I'm really fascinated by, and I don't think I'm going to ask Liam this today. I think this might be more of a Friday question when, it's a little bit slower in terms of the media that's assembled. But one of the things that I'm sort of curious about is in your first year, how big of a stepping stone is this? Like, to play a game of this magnitude and get a sense this early on in your build of this thing, not just Liam, but Gladstone and Baselli, the guys that can step up in these moments, if that makes sense. Like, you probably didn't think your first year you were going to have many of these, if any. You were inheriting a team coming off a 4-win season. But now it's here, and you're playing a game for first place in the AFC South going into December. I think it's going to be very revealing to this staff in terms of the guys that they can count on in the biggest moments.
Yeah, I think so. And I'll go back to 2013 when that administration led by Dave Caldwell and Gus Bradley first started, and Bill Polian, who gave Dave his start, was at camp. And Bill says one of the first things you do as a GM in your first year is you're going to start liking guys you never thought you'd like. And you're going to want to get rid of guys you thought would be building blocks. Well, look at the Jaguars this year. I mean, Devin Lloyd is one of the guys that they're counting on. He's going to be huge on Sunday. Brian Thomas hasn't been that guy. So,
right.
And so Sunday is another discovery process for this Jaguars administration led by Liam Cohen. 8-4 versus 8-4, first place on the line. 3-game winning streak, high stakes. Who can you count on? Can you count on your quarterback? I think you can count on your running back, Travis Etienne. You can count on Brenton Strange, Jacoby Myers, Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd. Josh Hines-Allen has reemerged. So I do think there's a lot of guys that are ready for this stage. And it has nothing to do about the stage 3 years ago. That's 3 years ago. This is a new opportunity. And the fact that they're going to be playing early December, meaningful games, that means this build is on the right path.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's kind of incredible, really. I mean, Vrabel's going to win Coach of the Year. We know that. But it's really remarkable and Ben Johnson has done an outstanding job. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC currently goes through Chicago. We'll see if that holds. But Ben Johnson doing an unbelievable job in year one with the Bears. But this is incredible what Liam Cohen has done. They've doubled their win total with 5 games to play. And they have, I think, the clearest path to winning this division. Doesn't mean they'll get it done, but they, I think, have put themselves in the best position between the Colts and the Texans. And I thought Sunday's game was a reflection of Liam Cohen. You have some things go wrong. You lose your long snapper for basically the entire first half. Devon Hamilton goes in there, does an admirable job considering he hadn't done it in a game since he was in high school. It just seems like this team is tough. Like in all three phases, they've got flaws, but it just seems like there's a physical and mental toughness in all three phases that's really served them incredibly well.
I mean, I think they learned their lesson from the Las Vegas and Arizona games on the road, where they were the better team and they needed overtime both times to win. I think that served as two learning lessons. Go into Tennessee, make the adjustments after the Titans' first drive, and give up 118 yards the rest of the game. On offense, not a great offensive game, but Trevor Lawrence threw a couple touchdowns, which was encouraging. And in the second half, I think Liam Cohen alluded to this on Monday. The field position just didn't work out for them to continue taking shots. So they just took the air out of the football, got out of there with a 25-3 win. That was total domination. That is an encouraging sign. I don't care who you're playing. You should do that against bad teams. That showed they weren't looking ahead to the Colts. And you're right, is I think if the Jaguars win this game on Sunday, they will win the division because the Colts are about to undertake the schedule the Jaguars had in September and October. Yeah. Texans twice, Niners, Seahawks. Seahawks may be the best team in the NFC right now. So
the game's in Seattle.
Yeah, so the Colts definitely. This is a very important game for the Colts. For the Jaguars, it is important because it's a division home game, but the fact that we're sitting here talking about this is quite impressive.
Without a doubt. Let's look at Indianapolis. They've lost 3 of 4. They've gone from the 1 seed to now the 6 seed in less than a month's time. What do you make of the Colts? Is it they kind of softened up or took advantage of a light schedule, and now that they're playing more competitive teams, they're starting to show that they're fairly mediocre? Or is this a very good team just going through the normal lull that most teams will experience at some point in an NFL season?
Well, I'll go this way. I wouldn't be surprised if they miss the playoffs if they lose Sunday to the Jaguars because of that aforementioned schedule, because the Texans are on such a roll. Okay, what's gone wrong? Okay, to their credit, they started 7-1. And they took advantage of a soft schedule. It's what the Jaguars got to do with the Jets, what they did against the Titans. Jonathan Taylor is an outstanding running back. We'll get to him in a second. But I'll start on offense. Watching their Texans game, they like to work downfield with their passing game, but you didn't see a lot of breathing room for Jonathan Taylor. Granted, the Texans defense is great, and then it took him a while to get to Tyler Warren, who has 58 catches. So I think is reality setting in for Daniel Jones? Maybe he's also limited with that. Was probably a chip fracture in his left leg. He was not leaving the pocket at all. So that's what Campanile and Cohn got to look at. On defense, Buckner's a huge loss. Yeah, Gardner's a big loss. And so this is a team right now that is on the verge of reeling, if not already there at 1-3 in their last 4.
Yeah, I totally agree. Jacob Simon's helping us out on Duval Rundown. We certainly appreciate Jacob's brain power. Jacob, let's say hello to our sponsors, please.
I'm Rick Ballou, Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, proud partner of the Jaguars. Drive with confidence. Every new vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime warranty. 7030 Commonwealth Avenue or online at jackswest.com.
So let's look at Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, in the MVP discussion, I don't think he's going to win it, but he's in the discussion, probably more of an offensive player of the year candidate. 1,282 yards on the ground, a 5.7-yard average, which is obviously incredibly impressive. 15 touchdowns on the ground, and also has been a good receiver. 304 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns there. So you're talking about a player that's already close to 1,600 yards of offense and 17 total touchdowns. Campanile obviously has done an outstanding job. What do you think he will try to do to take away Jonathan Taylor?
Well, I'll give you one more stat on Taylor. Entering the Houston game, he had 938 yards after contact rushing, which was best in the league, which suggests two things. One, he's a powerful runner, and two, he's not getting a lot of blocking. And so he's had to make some chicken salad. Watching that Texans game, I thought what Houston did a nice job of, they brought a safety into the box. And they had several run blitzes that either Jones didn't check out of or said, hey, I still got a hat on a hat. So I would challenge this Indianapolis offense to beat me deep if I would drop a safety close to the line of scrimmage. The second thing I would be concerned about if I'm the Jaguars is you mentioned his ability as a receiver. His most explosive play against the Texans was a sort of a wide screen pass where he had three blockers in front of him, gained 33 yards. He looks very comfortable as a receiver, as the statistics would indicate. So I think tackling is going to be critical. The Jaguars have tackled well in recent weeks. And it's going to lean on four guys, I think. Lloyd and Luakon on the second level. And then if they get Eric Armstead back, combined with Devon Hamilton, I'll throw Mason Smith in. Those guys at the point of attack inside got to hold the fort down.
Yeah, without a doubt. What's your gut feeling on Trayvon Walker?
I would say probably not. That's just a total gut feeling. I mean, he did not practice at all last week, correct?
Yeah.
So that would be my lean on that. Armstead is interesting. How limited will he be with the hand? Will he have the big club on? So there are some injury issues up with the Jaguars.
Yeah, without a doubt. One thing that could help is Eric Murray, I would think, will be back. He was able to practice a little bit last week after they activated his IR return window. So that would certainly help. Although it seems like the safeties have been a little bit better lately, but you'd still like to have a savvy guy like Eric Murray back there, who obviously is very familiar with Indianapolis from his days with the Houston Texans.
Well, one thing you could do to work Murray in is have him be the dime defender. Not so much covering a guy, but have three safeties and three corners out there. Johnson, Murray, Wingard, because Lane has been that dime guy. And I think Campanelli's gotten away from that because he is a rookie. So I would probably expect him to work Murray in a little bit because he just hasn't played in so long.
The Colts receivers are interesting because they sort of are, the old adage of you want to build a basketball team, and they've kind of done that. Everybody sort of does a little something different. I'm not sure they have a burner. Correct me if you disagree with that. So I'm not sure they have like the real pure speed guy, but Pittman is certainly the possession, catch radius, physical. Pierce has shown, and particularly against the Jaguars, that he can certainly get deep. But we obviously remember last year with Ryan Nielsen, hands bent over after Alec Pierce caught his second bomb of the day.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah. So and Josh Downs is a slippery, receiver. So they kind of have a good, well-rounded core, but I'm not sure that they have exceptional speed.
Pierce is the guy who's interesting to me. He's the guy, not to sound all coach speak, he's the guy that jumped off the Houston tape. He's averaging 20.9 yards per catch on 33 catches. So that means it doesn't mean he has like 6 catches for 300 yards or something stupid like that. He's been pretty consistent stretching the field, specifically deep middle. I got to think they're going to reincorporate Warren early. He has 7 catches in his last 2 games. 8 catches in his last 2 games. Only 1 touchdown in his last 6. I think there's going to be a little bit of a course correction there, trying to get him going because he was invisible against the Texans. So to your point is they got a bunch of guys who are threats, but do they have a game record? I don't think so, except for Taylor, obviously.
Yes, without a doubt. And we haven't talked much about Daniel Jones other than the fact that, we know he's got the fracture in his leg that he's playing through. And to your point, doesn't look like his mobility is what it normally would be, which is his greatest strength. Do you kind of get a sense that Daniel Jones, whether it's the injury or whether he's just not a great player, and eventually that was going to show up? Because their numbers statistically are still fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you look at what Indianapolis is offensively, they're 4th in yards. They lead the NFL in scoring at 29.8 a game. But what's interesting about that is they've really struggled in their last 4. Their last 4 games, they're only averaging 21.7, which is very pedestrian. But even with those 4 games of just 21.7, they're still hovering just below 30 a game. What do you make when you see Daniel Jones? What do you make of him, his progress, and his ability going into Sunday's matchup?
He's a guy. I mean, I think Darnold last year at this time was probably better because that's where Jones is being compared to. Is Sam Darnold had that, breakout year, then signed with Seattle. But the stat that jumps out to me is when the Colts' first 8 games, they had 4 total turnovers, and their last 4 games they got 8. Well, that's the Daniel Jones effect. Now, as you mentioned accurately, one of his greatest strengths is getting out of trouble. Well, against Houston, they basically said, you're not leaving the hash marks because you can't. And you could tell that. I mean, they went a long time without going under center in that game. So to me, I think this is a game where the Jaguars can create some stuff against Jones, especially if he's not mobile. And that's not his fault. He's injured. He's sucking it up. So, create some problems for him where he has to move off his spot, and that's how turnovers can happen. And I don't usually do this a lot, but got to show up, fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I may write about that for Friday. Is hey, this team is right there for you to like. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's even if it's supposed to rain a little bit, the parking construction, it's a pain in the butt. You want the Colts offense to feel this crowd on Sunday.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, I'll be surprised if it's not a fantastic environment. You couldn't ask for anything more. And so, yeah, I would anticipate Sunday being very rowdy, and can't wait to see it. Let's get a couple of Jaguars thoughts from you. You referenced Brian Thomas Jr. Earlier, and we certainly have been very critical of him, and I think for good reason. But I will say I was encouraged by what I saw Sunday in Nashville, and I mean I was watching it on TV, but what I was encouraged by is he seemed more physical. He was a willing blocker, not just kind of getting in a guy's way, but really trying to pancake a guy on that long catch and run by Jacoby Myers. His numbers in the passing game weren't fantastic, but he caught what was thrown to him. I thought for the most part, didn't have any real minus plays. Could Brian Thomas Jr., could the message have finally sort of gotten into, or is the slump, do you feel like the slump might be over for Brian Thomas Jr.?
I think he got a message because he didn't play. I don't think the slump is over because that still remains to be seen. But I would agree that his catch on 3rd and long was encouraging because it was sort of a deep crossing route. The first one they got him involved was, just sort of a spot route. So outside, he probably played more than he anticipated because of the Parker Washington injury. That's another injury that's worth monitoring this week. They released Austin Trammell. So that, to me, that means that they feel like Washington should be ready to go. Maybe I'm just misreading that, but this is a hell of an opportunity for Thomas right now because the Colts' number 1 corner is injured. The Colts' new number 1 corner is probably Tre'Davious Ward. I would put him on Jacoby Myers. So Brian Thomas has a heck of an opportunity over these last 6 weeks to say, hey, not only do I deserve to be a number 1, I deserve to be a number 1 in Jacksonville. Right now, neither of those things are the case.
Yeah, I would agree. And in a big moment here for Trevor Lawrence to, again, start to put another brick in the foundation of, hey, I'm on my way to becoming one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Obviously, we know he still has a lot of work to do to get to that level, but coming off a good game in Nashville, and boy, this is a big opportunity to show what a clutch player he can be.
Yeah, and it's, he had the terrible Arizona game. I don't care what people say about him making plays to win the game. He got his team in that hole to start with.
Right.
I thought it was a step forward against Tennessee, and okay, now do it again. That's the bottom line. You have first place on the line. You're on your home field. You have your top weapons healthy with Thomas, Strange, and then Myers is on a roll. There's no excuses. The Colts are going to rush 4. except on third down. They can rush 5, 6, and 7 with a very good defensive coordinator. So you got to be aware of the picture. You got to be aware of unblocked rushers, which was a problem against Tennessee again for this Jaguar offensive line. So it's up to Trevor Lawrence to make some plays early in the game instead of making mistakes and then having to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to get to the stadium for Liam Cohen's press conference. But before we do that, Ryan, tell us what's coming up on Jacksonville.com this week and give us an idea of where you're leaning for Sunday's game.
Well, in the Times-Union today's paper online right now, caught up with Dave Caldwell, the former Jaguars GM, who was announced as the Florida Gators GM. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but we're on the same wavelength here. I think it was a smart hire. I would have liked Dave Caldwell to be paired with Lane Kiffin. I thought that would have been a dynamic duo, but I think Florida is they're doing a philosophical pivot here with Caldwell. Friday I'll have a Jaguar column, maybe just setting the stage a little bit, and then Saturday notes, and then Sunday the game. As far as my lean on the game, I'm leaning toward Jaguars at this point because I just didn't see a lot to like about this Colts team against Houston.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the Jaguars as well. I'm curious to see how each team responds. I'm almost leaning a little bit that I think the Jaguars, this could be a little bit like the Chargers game where it gets away from Indy early, particularly if they can get to Jones and the way Hines Allen is starting to come into form. You hope you get Trayvon back. You hope, Gardeck and Lloyd, I think, can do some things getting after Jones. So I think I like the Jaguars, probably like them more than the numbers should indicate I should. But it should be an unbelievable environment and a fun game to cover on Sunday, and hopefully a fun game for the fans to enjoy. So
real quick, I can't believe they're a home underdog.
Yeah, that is surprising. Well, I mean, again, the numbers all would indicate, if you looked at just the numbers through the season, the Colts are pretty much better in everything. Like even the thing that the Jaguars do the best, which is run the ball and stop the run. The Jags are 11th in rushing offense and lead the NFL in rushing defense. So you'd be like, okay, well, they've got a huge advantage there. Well, not really, because the Colts are 6th running the ball offensively and they're 7th stopping it. So, they're every bit as good with the ground game offensively and defensively as the Jaguars. And the turnover margin isn't that, but the Jaguars are better, but not by much. They're +6. The Colts are +5. So the raw data would indicate that the Colts are better, but the eye test to me leans more to the Jaguars. And like, we were talking about a day or so ago, you get the sense that the Colts just sort of not ran the score up necessarily, but the numbers are a little skewed because they dominated some really bad teams. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see. But yeah, you're right. I think if I had to bet the game, I would take the Jaguars. And I just take the Jaguars money line, but I certainly would be comfortable getting, what is it, like 1.5, something like that? Yeah. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Ryan, we certainly appreciate it. And once again, the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon is going on all day. So please help us with that. And you can text GOAL to 44834. We'll be back on Friday with Rick Ballou. Until then, thanks for watching Duval Rundown. Go Jaguars.